Good morning, everyone. Chris with HashRelay.net. Sorry for the long hiatus. Finally got myself moved into a new place. Took longer to get the internet set up than it did to move all my crap in. But I'm finally back, and what a wild ride it's been over the past couple of weeks. We thought we were going to break through to clear blue skies, and tank. Well, today we can see the market cap's up over $400 billion. Last night it dipped down below $395 billion. Daily trading volumes at $22.5 billion. Bitcoin dominance is right up there, 41.7%. Now Bitcoin dropped below $9,500 yesterday, and it's crawled itself back up above the $10,000 mark. Ethereum struggling down at the $767 mark. Ripple well under $1. Neo under $100. And really, not too much in the reds on this one. NEM is probably the top performer over the past 24 hours, up 8%. Ethereum Classic 4.4%. Lisk is at 1.5%. Waves is at 6%. And a lot of red all throughout CoinMarketCap. And so what's caused all of this mayhem? Well, in one bit of news, you may have heard that Binance was hacked. That's not entirely true. What it was API keys used for trading bots and portfolio linking and price tickers on websites and that sort of thing. Those had a security issue, but Binance CEO said on Twitter that all funds are safe. There were irregularities in trading activity. Automatic alarms triggered. Some accounts may have been compromised by phishing from before. We are still investigating. All funds are safe. And then, much later, he retweeted that they were reversing all of the unauthorized trades. Everyone would be getting their money back. And that the hackers actually lost money doing this hacking attempt. And then all of the money that they gained from the hackers were going to Binance charities. In other news, Mt. Gox from the infamous 2011 and 2014 hacks. Their trustees sold off $400 million of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash between December and February, including 18,000 Bitcoin. And this is likely a contributing factor to all of the downs we've seen over the past few months. Roughly worth $405 million at press time, which was 4:30 p.m. UTC yesterday. So that much money flowing into the market definitely has some negative impact on Bitcoin's prices. And in ICO news, the CFTC and the SEC are taking some pretty strong looks at ICOs and exchanges, and not a whole lot of news coming out, but speculations have spread a lot of FUD into the market space. And so that could be a likely contributing factor to the negative trends in the market. So if we go over to the charts, we can see that just now Bitcoin broke below $10,000. It had broken above this long-term downtrend line, but over the past couple of days, this strong market fear reaction has brought prices back below this long-term downtrend, and in fact this uptrend here as well. So we're gonna want to see Bitcoin pick up above both of these and then continue on this uptrend at best. Much more FUD in the market, and we could see prices drop down, possibly to the $9,500 mark, maybe down as low as 9,000. Here we can see that we had crossed over on the MACD. We were keeping pretty well, but with this downtrend, we look like we're going to test and possibly break through to the underside here. And the RSI back below that 50 mark, held up pretty strong for a few days, but we lost the gains that we had. Moving on to Ethereum, it had flatlined for the most part, but developments have driven the prices down as it tracks pretty well with Bitcoin. So you see the MACD was flat as well, not much movement on the histogram at all, and now we're getting a slight divergence south of the yellow line. Same thing with the RSI. I'm trailing just below that 50 mark for a good while. And you can see the plummet from this price impacting the RSI. Moving on to Litecoin. Again, pretty flat line over the past few days, and then we can see a slight dip down in the MACD. We're not as long trending along that 50 line on the RSI, but we can see again this little dip looks like it's pretty well flattening out. We have broken below this medium-term uptrend line, so we're going to want to see prices kick back above that up to the $200 mark or so. And then if we can get there for Litecoin, we should be back to a good position to continue increasing. NEO, it's been struggling pretty strong over the past few days. Broke below this longer term uptrend line, still holding this strong downtrend here. Could go ahead and form a new downtrend for the short term. It'll be pretty steep though. So that'll be the new downtrend. And we really like to see us break above that. Indicators not looking too good. We attempted to make a crossover a few days ago and failed. Now we're diverging quite far from the yellow line on the MACD, getting some longer bars on the south side of the histogram. You can see a big sweep in the RSI. Went up from almost 60 on the RSI right down to that 30 mark. It made a little bounce off the 30, but we'd like to see it creeping higher towards that 50 rather quickly for some positive indicators for NEO. Steam, still struggling, still trending farther down, put in a new downtrend line. You can see we're well below this long short-term uptrend line. We've got a fairly flat long-term uptrend line, and we were still quite a ways away from that, so not really a concern there, but that is almost all-time lows here, so on the MACD, got a long downwards trail. Now we're flattening out pretty close, nearing the yellow line. Histogram's making a move back to neutral. But the RSI, you can see the quick decline from the 70 to the 30 mark, and now we've just basically doing small bounces off this 30 line. So we want to see it pick up and gain momentum for positive steam. Moving on to Komodo, it's also been struggling the past several months. Hasn't really got any chance to uptrend at all. We're just slowly creeping south in this pretty wide downtrending channel. Very flat on the MACD and the histogram. RSI bounced off the 30, didn't quite make it over the 40 line. We're trying to test that to get back up to the 50 here, but indicators show it'll probably continue downtrending for the foreseeable future. We'd like to see some consolidation at best. Vertcoin losing all of the gains it made on the explosive bid a couple of weeks ago. We're in a long-term downtrend, just like we were for Komodo, but our shorter-term downtrend was broken back a couple of weeks ago, and we still haven't come back down that far, so that's at least some positive news for Vertcoin, though we did lose this long-term uptrend. Here on the MACD, we can see that it crossed over barely a couple of weeks ago, flattened out, and now it's back into negative territories, but not very far. Tiny bars on the histogram. And here on the RSI, you can see the sharp decline from the 50 to the 30. We've got a slight bounce, but we'd like to see more positive indicators over the market as a whole before we're positive on Vertcoin, which has had some pretty rough past couple months. QuantStamp has also been getting crushed well below its downtrend line and has blown through all of its uptrend lines. Probably start a new downtrend line even, be much steeper. And I've now lost all of my indicators. So alright. Sorry about that. Just had to bring those back up. Alright, so as you can see, still trending very narrowly on the southern side of the MACD here. Real thin bars on the bottom of the histogram. And still trending right along that 30 line on the RSI for QuantStamp. So we're in bullish mode for here. We want to see it flatten out right along the 2000 Satoshi marks, consolidate here, which would put us in a pretty wide downtrending channel, just like we were with Komodo. Moving on to Lumen, it had a short-term downtrend line that it has not yet broke through, but like most of the rest of the market, it has also dropped below all of its uptrend lines. We do have A new short-term uptrend forming here. It's pretty shallow, but I'll go ahead and put it in. So we've got a tiny uptrend here, holding very narrowly to that yellow line on the MACD for a good long time. We're finally getting a potential for a crossover, and we'll want to see it kick to the positive side for some increase in price here. You can see we bounced off the 30, but we're holding right under that 40 line on the RSI. So a little bit more momentum before we'll call a bullish sign on Lumen, but it is actually looking better than most of the other cryptos throughout the week. Cardano still struggling a bit. We've got a new downtrend here. We'll go ahead and move the long-term downtrend line over a bit. Broke through its long-term uptrend line. Never a good sign for Cardano. Holding flat along this RSI for a good minute. I'm sorry, the MACD. Holding flat, but in a strong negative movement. Really flat on the histogram, so we shouldn't see too much large price movements through a single day, but holding this downtrend line. Not too great. Rolling under the 30 mark. So in the oversold location of the RSI. Now, typically when a asset gets into the oversold mark, you're likely to see higher spikes as people are more willing to buy mass quantities at the reduced price. And this is true. If you are interested in Cardano, sitting at 24 cents right now, this is a good time to get in if that is what you'd like to do. Moving on to ELF. It is still in a long-term downtrend, broke out of its uptrend line quite a while ago. Price is nearing all-time lows. About 2,000 satoshis off, 2,500 satoshis off their all-time lows. Still trending pretty narrowly below the yellow line on the MACD. Tiny flat bars on the south side of the histogram. And it has now just dipped into the oversold area on the RSI. So, like Cardano, we could see a price increase to get it back above this 30 line, but with the continuation of the negative market trends, I'm not really positive on that one. Go ahead and move this out to indicate the longer term downtrend here. And the last one for the day, Poet. Poet was relatively flat for a while. Took a couple of good sized dips that have brought it down to the 400 Satoshi mark, knocking it out of its long-term uptrend and putting in a new fairly flat downtrend line. We'll go ahead and mark it in here. And again, insanely narrow to that RSI in a pretty strong downtrend movement. Sorry, the MACD. Moving very narrowly on the MACD in a southern movement. Very flat on the histogram. RSI is also in the oversold below the 30 here. And the negative trends of the market could be discouraging if you have a lot of bags and a lot of different coins. And I recently picked up more Cardano, Oh, and I also got some car vertical at under 1 penny. You can get car vertical at under 1 penny. It's not on TradingView at the moment, but once it gets there, I will put in a price chart for, or a TradingView chart for that as well. If they'll ever add KuCoin to TradingView. But if you've got any fiat that you want to throw into the market, again, this is a great time to buy. It's on a flash sale. Prices could drop further, that is true, but we have yet to see the mass adoption of Bitcoin in the majority of public space. We're just now seeing the start to more awareness of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. So remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not an advisor, not a legal expert, but do your due diligence. Find something that really interests you and you can get passionate about. And right now is a good time to buy when everything's low. But that's all I've got for this morning. Remember to like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and follow me if you're on Steam, and I'll definitely follow you back. So with that being said, this is Chris from Hash Relay. I'll see y'all later.